so all those kind of things are going on right now, and we hope that that's not where things are going to be. But the reality is that our government is sort of in a state of impasse. We are passing great bills out of the House of Representatives, but not much of that is taking place in the Senate. As a matter of fact, we passed a great bill yesterday morning, which is going to provide an opportunity for low-income people, like people who work in home health care, to be able to buy into 401k programs to have some retirement. Both Democrats in the House and the Senate agreed to the bill. Many people said it was a good bill. I said it was a great bill because it was going to provide an opportunity, especially for these low-income women, more than half of whom are women of color who work in the home health industry, to be able to have a pension. It's called the Secure Act. And when you get old or you get retirement age, the one thing you want to do is feel that you're going to be able to live decently for the rest of your life. You have worked. 39% of the people who are in this country feel if they have an emergency that costs $1,000, 39% of the people feel that they don't have enough savings to take care of that emergency. And 67%, that is 2/3 of the people, feel that they aren't going to have enough retirement money to live comfortably until they die. That is to say, that they are going to struggle in the last years of their lives. I have been led to believe, and I firmly do, that you can measure the greatness of a society by how well it treats its old people, how well it treats its young people, and how well it treats those who have disabilities, those who cannot adequately care for themselves. So we're doing work in the House. We're doing some work in the Senate, but it's not the same. I'm also glad to report that I had a great conversation this afternoon with the Deputy Governor of the state of Illinois, who is in charge of child welfare. And the meeting was it was arranged by State Representative LaShawn Ford, and the four of us had a wonderful conversation because much of my responsibility and my charge is about child welfare. I chair a subcommittee whose basic responsibility is to deal with the needs of vulnerable children in America. And one of the things that we've been doing is trying to make sure that children, especially those of low-income families, have the greatest chances to grow and develop and become the self-sufficient individuals that they have the potential of being. So that's our work. I have a few announcements I want to make. The St. Paul Church of God in Christ Community Development Ministries has a great training program for people who are interested in apprenticeships, who want to learn skills, and who want to be in a great position. If they're interested in the construction trades, and other related industries, they can call Pastor Kevin Anthony Ford, president, or just call the St. Paul Church of God in Christ over at 773-538-5120. Enroll, learn a skill. You know, if you've got a skill, you can get a job. There are jobs available for people who know something to do. I often have poetic thoughts and ideas, and I have a little poem about that. The poem says, I watched them tearing a building down, a group of men in an angry town. I asked the foreman, are these men skilled, the kind I would need if I wanted to build? And he answered, no indeed. Unskilled labor is all that I need. Why, I can wreck in a day or two what it has taken builders a lifetime to do. And so I thought of myself as I went my way and asked, which of these roles am I prepared to play? Am I a builder who measures life with patience and care? Or am I a wrecker who stalks the town, content with the task of tearing down? You know, a wrecker can tear down in one day what it may take builders a year to do. And so you can wreck something. One wreckable mistake can tear down all the things that you've tried to build up for the other part of your life. So let's develop skill. Let's call Reverend Ford over at the St. Paul Church of God in Christ and join up and become a part of this program. Learn how to be a carpenter, learn how to be a plumber, learn how to fix things rather than tear up or tear down things. There is also going to be a press conference on Tuesday that I and Senator Dick Durbin are going to have at the Chicago Children's Advocacy Center, 1240 South Damon Avenue. That's going to be Tuesday morning, and it's going to talk about and push a bill that is trauma related, and that is to try and make sure that we have enough trauma treatment, that is, enough treatment for people who have experienced trauma, or for children especially who've had traumatic experiences. As one who has had some trauma in my own family, that is, some of you may be aware that I had a grandson who was killed a couple years ago, and his brothers and sisters were in the house at the same time. He was 15 years old, and of course, that's been a traumatic experience for all of them. And so I know firsthand the need to have counseling services, the need to have medical treatment, programs for children who have had traumatic experiences. So we'll be doing that Tuesday morning. I think we may have a caller on the line, and if we do, we're going to take an opportunity to go. Caller, are you there?
How you doing, Connie David? How you doing?
I am wonderful, James. How are you?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your celebration last week, and happy nice Memorial Day, Connie David. Like I said once before, God gonna deal with a lot of these people out here, because I see it like this, Connie David. Now I think they were always in on it about what happened to that girl, that teenager. They always in on it. The media, Eddie Johnson, there, the governor, and all them was in on it. I think Donald Trump was in on it too, because God gonna deal with them, Connie David.
Well, you know, I believe that God exists, and I also believe that God helps those who help themselves. And sometimes we can look for God to help us, and other times we can help God. And so we work along with God to try and help make the world the kind of world that we want it to be. I am a firm believer in God. I am what I call a practicing Christian, and I believe a lot of things. I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe in the darkest part of the night, a candle glows. And so I believe, as you do, that God is everywhere. You know, I believe that God is all around. Truth on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet beyond the dim unknown standeth God, keeping watch over his own. So I believe, like you, I believe that truth crushed to the earth will rise again. So thank you so much for your call, and we're just going to keep believing, and we're going to keep on doing it. So thank you so much, James, for your call. Our number is 312-738-1060, and you can get in on this conversation as well. Let me also mention, next week we have 2 town hall meetings that are coming up. One is in Forest Park, Illinois, and the other one at the Village Hall in Forest Park, and the other one is in Bellwood, Illinois. One is on Wednesday night in Forest Park, and the other one is on Thursday night in Bellwood. So please, if you're interested in coming or being a part, give us a call at 773-533-7520, and we look forward to your being in attendance. The mayor of each one of those towns is going to be present. So will the village trustees and other elected officials, and you can come and ask questions and get answers. Caller, are you there? Yes, we'll go right back to the phone and take our next caller. Caller, are you there? Well, if we missed you, you can certainly call us right back, and we eagerly await your call. Some of the people... Yes, go right ahead.
U.S. Representative 7th District. I want to talk about, I hope I'm not off subject, I just turned in. I want to talk about how Donald Trump has gotten corporate welfare, and I'll be real brief with my statement. You remember Trump Casino, Trump Airlines, Trump University,
all those different companies of Donald Trump had went bankrupt, and he was able to write that stuff off on his taxes. Now, when you look at people that went to colleges and decide maybe to go back and get their masters, you may talk about doctors, medical professions that maybe been in their field of work a while, and they still owing college loans. About 3 weeks ago, 60 Minutes did a report on how there's teachers that went back to get their masters, and they got into this program where a certain part of their loan is supposed to be forgiven. And we look at the program, about 900 people last year, they did everything they're supposed to do. Only 900 people in the program was able to be forgiven. And we talking about, how you want to talk about first responders, teachers, and they can't pay these loans back. When it comes time for Social Security, guess what? They could have their Social Security garnished, but yet Donald Trump can at one time get over billions in tax write-off. And I call that corporate welfare. And we got people that work hard, and they can't get no type of relief. And these are facts. If I'm wrong about anything, stop me dead in my tracks.
Well, I think it is corporate welfare. And, of course, much of my focus is really on trying to help equalize things in the society of which we are part. I make no bones about being an advocate for the poor. I make no bones about being an advocate for low and moderate income
and thank
people.
You for that work.
And I think if we use the power potential that we have, low-income people don't have the money that high-income people have, but low-income people have the votes. There are more low-income people than there are very wealthy income people. And so if low-income people make use of their voting potential, they can change rules and regulations and laws. For example, if you raise the minimum wage, what does that really mean? It means that the ultimate recipients of the benefit of whatever that activity is, you've equalized to some degree. And one guy may not be making $5 or $6 million a year if you're dividing that money up with the people at the low end. So it does make a difference. And I think we got another caller on the line. Caller, are you there? Yes, caller, did we miss you? You still got a couple minutes?
Yes, Congressman, and it's a great day to be on God's green earth. I'm going to say one thing about insurance, and you're so right. I mean, people need to vote, and a lot of times people do not do anything till something really happens. But listen, I'm a firm believer everybody needs insurance. I ain't never in my life had trauma until I had this stroke. Without insurance, like you say, you not to get the things you need. And as get better insurance, you get more. That's just the way this goes. But listen, I wouldn't know what to do, because one thing, I can pay all the cash that these people did for me, tell me. I thank God every day is just my speech. I could have been under the ground and everything would have been over. But listen, again, people, If you live long enough, you're going to get sick. And if you live old enough, you're going to have a trauma. And sad as it is, young people have more trauma than old people. People are dying left and right through the bullet. And that's so shame there. But even your loved one, and this happened to your loved one, hopefully you got insurance for your kids. So again, I thank God every day for the things he has blessed me with. And I won't hold up the show. But again, I thank him so much. Let me get off the phone, Congressman, and let me hear your response. And thanks for taking the call.
Some of the very best advice one could ever receive. You know, some of us don't give a lot of advice. My daddy used to tell us, so don't give a whole lot of advice. Say, a wise man don't need it, and a fool won't heed it. And so we sometimes are short on advice, but I can tell you, having assurances of being able to take care of and to cover the situations of life, you need to have insurance in the event that you become ill, and you need to have burial insurance. You shouldn't die and not be able to be put away decently. So listen to that advice. Make sure that you have the appropriate insurance so that if you get sick, you can get the medical care you need. And of course, in the event that you should die and pass away, you can go ahead and be buried and then go on up yonder to be with your Lord. Thank you all so much. It's been a wonderful afternoon. Thanks to our callers. Thanks to our listeners. Have a wonderful Memorial Day and pay tribute to those who've given their best for our country. I thank all of those who've served in the military, all of our veterans, and all of those who paved the way for the rest of us. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you next week.